All right, for video instructions, the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need this sheet of paper that shows us how to connect our iPad to the LabQuest 3. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the LabQuest 3. So I've just shown up to this lab station. Someone else has already finished it. So the first thing I need to make sure of is I need to go to this little cog over here in the corner, and I'm going to choose Connections, making sure that it's on the Senior High PSK, and this is the number I'm going to need down here in the corner. Don't do the QR code because that won't open it in the right program, even though it kind of looks like my iPad wants to do that down here. So I'm going to need that. So what I'm going to use that IP address for is I'm now going to head over to my iPad, go over to Graphical Analysis, and I'm going to click on this middle one, Data Sharing. I'm going to click this little arrow to specify my source, and here's where I'm going to type in that IP address that it gave me on the LabQuest 3. Now, another little trick here for you is I'm going to go ahead and copy that thing. So now it's copied. I guess I could do this too. Now it's copied. So I'm going to use that when I get to trial 2, so I don't have to type it in again. Go ahead, hit connect. And now what I should see is I should see that the same thing that is showing up on the LabQuest is showing up on my screen. They are now sharing the data. We're going to go ahead and click the little home picture up here. Well, if you can click next to the home picture, we can go to this screen. Just verify that this first one has a reverse. If it doesn't have reverse there, just check it. We need that so that the two sensors agree on which direction is positive. All right, so now I'm actually going to move us over to a different camera to see the 3 different collisions we're going to look at. All right, let's take a look at those 3 collisions you're going to do and some of the little pieces of information you need to have. So the first thing is make sure that that blue light is on for both carts. Now for the first one I'm going to show you here, the inelastic elastic one, you're going to go ahead and send the lighter cart into the heavier cart. After they collide, 2 things you want to make sure of. You want to make sure that the 2 carts are moving away from each other after the collision in opposite directions. You also want to make sure you stop them before they reach the ends of the track and hit those sensors. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to start with that larger one just in the center. I'm going to hit collect on my iPad. As soon as it starts collecting, I'll send in that smaller cart. So here I hit collect, send it in, and I'll notice that this one is moving backwards, and I make sure I stop that one before it reaches the end of the track. Now you'll notice this one did come to a stop. That's because friction's involved there, and we want to isolate that section immediately after the collision on the graph. Okay. The next one I'm going to show you here is on this same track. So you're going to push this in, and right above it there's a little black thing. You heard it click there, and then there's a silver one on top. The black one holds it in. The silver one is going to allow it to release. So I'm going to set those 2 together there. I'm going to take a ruler, and I'm just going to have to tap that. So what I'm going to do is hit collect on my iPad, and I should see they bounce apart. Again, I want to stop them before they hit the ends. Now for the next one, you're going to have to go to a completely separate track. On that separate track, you're going to notice one does not have a light and one does. So you're going to pull those 2 apart. There's magnets that connect them. The one that doesn't have a light is going to be the one that just sits on the track and gets run into by the one that does have the light. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that light on and then set it on the track, hit collect on my iPad, and I'll send this one in, and then they'll stick together. Again, stop them before they reach the end of the track. Now, let's see what we're going to do with the data that we do get from them. All right, so you saw those 3 different collisions. In order to collect that data, you just have to hit collect and then send that collision in. Now, what you're going to see is on my iPad, it didn't show up right away. There's a little bit of delay. You could hear the carts colliding in the background there, though. All right, once we're at this point, we are going to change a few things. So we're going to go up to our view options, and we only want to look at one graph at a time, and specifically we want the velocity versus time graphs. So we're going to get rid of these position versus time graphs and only see the velocity versus time graphs. Now, if you want to, you can change these colors. to make them the same as, change the color to make it the same as the cart's colors. So for instance, my cart 1 was my red and my cart 2 is my blue. So if you'd like to do that, you can at this stage. Next, we're going to collect the data we need. So on our velocity versus time graphs, we're going to highlight the region right before they collided. And you notice that it kind of highlights both. And we're going to click View Statistics. From the statistics, we are going to want the mean values. So I notice my red cart is stopped. That's why I get 0. And I notice my blue cart is moving. Okay. Next, we need to go ahead and highlight just after the collision. So when those curves get flat again. Now I only want to highlight that little region afterwards because you're seeing that over time friction is being involved and momentum isn't conserved if there's an outside net external force such as friction. So once I get to this point here, there's 2 things I'm going to have to do. 1, I'm going to need to take a screenshot of this, and 2, I'm going to need to save this. So go ahead, take that screenshot, and then go up here to save. You're going to want to go ahead and save this as inelastic trial 1. Well, trail 1, huh? Never's happened before in history of humanity if we spelled that word wrong. Choose folder. You can either choose to make a folder for this lab or just save it with the other labs you have here. As long as you have a good title, you should be able to get back to it. Now, to take your second trial, all we need to do is go ahead and go up here, and we're going to start a new experiment. Choose our data sharing, and we're going to go through that process. Now here's the kind of cool thing is you can just go ahead and paste that in there that second time, and you're ready to connect and start collecting that second trial of data.